Let's start going through some proposals of if you had a deal and what it would work with, just to give you a sense of where Congress is, and I think where they would be if you were to start to see things moving, if not now, then down the road. Individual rates are actually pretty straightforward. Both parties are actually in a good deal of agreement. They're just disagreeing about what they want to do with the money. The idea of capping deductions. The administration, which proposed for 4 years running, 5 years running now, the idea of having a deduction of only 28%. Whatever it is 28% and go with God. The Republicans have basically done a variant of that, which is to say, and this was in Romney's campaign, and it was in the Republicans' proposal before the super committee, for those who remember the super committee, it was their proposals for that too. The idea being that they wanted to cap deductions either as an AGI, say 2%, 3% AGI, you pick the number, or as a set dollar amount, $50,000, $70,000. They never got really into too much of the details, but you get the idea. Why is that? Either proposal raises bongo amounts of money, huge amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars over 10 years. And just, I don't know how many of you ever seen my explanation of scoring. You know, we do 10-year scoring, why? Because we have 10 fingers. And so you have huge amounts of money. And so for the Republicans, what they would do is then use that money to lower the rates. And that's kind of how they dream about it all. And for the Democrats, again, these are all kind of rough and ready, but for the Democrats, they would say, well, fine, we want to use those monies and we want to use it for increased spending in other areas. So they both are familiar with it and like it, but their ideas of what they would do with the monies are different. The other reason that the members like it is it avoids the problems of going after a specific proposal. If you think about it, members get nervous about being on the javelin receiving team for saying you're going after charities, you're going after mortgage, you're going after X. By having an overall cap or a limitation, it allows members to say, no, I'm not against mortgages, I'm not against charities. Well, that's right, read the fine print, you can't have everything. So it allows them to finesse that issue a good deal. It doesn't make the code any simpler, but it does raise a ton of money. So that's where they are on the rates. I don't think Republicans would ever get comfortable with the rates going up anymore. Again, these are kind of sweeping statements. I don't think the Dems, think about that too much. Some do, but by and large, no. But I think it's where the Republicans would really draw a hard line on the top rates going up any further. Like I said, their desire is more to trade off various deductions to get the rates lower. Cap gains and dividends. Cap gains and dividends are a little bit different. I think the Republicans, they surprised me that they were willing to let cap gains go up as well as dividends in the last run that we had in January. That's really a change for them from where they were, say, 3 years ago when I was on the committee. We had a number of members like Senator Graham from Texas who would have really rallied the troops and been against that. But they didn't hear much from downtown about this. They didn't hear much from their voters on it, and so they went along with that. And I think that's something that's still a little soft. I could see cap gains and dividends going up even further in a tax reform deal. I don't think a lot further, but I don't think it's quite the third rail that it was previously. One thing that I do think is set is that you will not see dividends go up to OI rates, meaning that cap gains and dividends will stay linked. They will stay arm in arm with each other even going forward. So I think that's an important thing to understand. The reason I say that is, forget about the Republicans, the Democrats themselves in the Senate, in their budget proposal, the administration came out really for the first time and said, we want to have dividend rates go up to OI. And the Senate Democrats in their budget proposal went along with quite a bit of the administration's tax proposals, but not this one. They kept dividends linked to ordinary income. Why is that? Because of the elderly vote, and they wanted to keep the elderly happy because of their interest in the dividend issues. So dividend rates stay linked up to capital gains, and I expect it to stay. I think that matters too for those who are interested. I know this is construction on the IC disc. IC disc, as you know, is an export benefit, and it's the shorthand of it, as I'm sure many of you are aware, is the dividend rates. It's a taxation of the dividend rate. So I think you're going to continue to see a significant delta between the dividend rates and the ordinary income, and for the time going forward. So I just mentioned that again. IC disc is for construction projects that are designed here but built overseas, including Canada, Mexico, and things like that. So very strong benefit. So that's what you're going to see on cap gains dividends.